Okay, let's get this party started. So I'm going to be doing a webinar seminar on what is your ideal language school size. This mainly applies to language schools in Japan, but I think if you calculate the revenue totals based on each stage, I think it could apply for many other different types of language and in-person businesses. So today's presentation will cover 4 of these 5 stages that applies to most people. But for stage 1, it's your focus point is get students and survive, make it to 100. Once you get to 100, do you really want to grow the school and manage people? Or do you want to have a really nice business just for yourself or for you and your wife in the 100 to 200 range? If you do decide to grow your company, do you decide to grow past 400 and grow your school? Or do you pursue your passion? Do you focus on something like building a curriculum, making a cafe, making another business, real estate, Airbnb, you name it? So, which do you choose? And if you do make it past that phase, do you start to enjoy the rewards after your long hard work, or do you still go for more students? And after that, it's do you go big? Do you go major? Do you go cross state, cross prefecture? Do you go international? Do you go nationwide? But we'll cover the first 4 steps because that applies to most people. And if you're interested in 5, you can reach out to me directly. So here are some things you'll take away from this presentation. 1, you'll learn what stage your company is in and the characteristics of it. You'll learn why you might be stuck in that stage. So if you've been there for several years, then you'll learn how to reach the next stage. And one point that I want to emphasize is that no stage is necessarily better than the other. It depends on what you want. So another potential takeaway is you might discover that you might not actually want to go to the next stage, and you're perfectly fine to stay at your current stage. And that might actually be the best decision. As for myself, I co-founded a chain called One Coin English, which grew to about 8,000 students, 11 schools, and 2,000 staff in 6 years. I've ran recruitment, training, management, operations, and I've also ran marketing for our subsidiary Japan Switch, which I've also scaled. And I've managed at 5 layers for One Coin English. So you have a teacher, teacher manager, area manager, general manager, regional manager, and then you have myself and the leadership team. So I've experienced at that layers, and right now I'm coaching and advising 25 business owners on how to scale their company. And I like to work with small businesses and helping them grow to the next stages. So rather than figuring things out yourself through trial and error, why not get someone who's already experienced it twice and can guide you through the way? And just for those who do want to grow their business, the one thing that I learned from the CEO of One Coin English, my co-founder, is a business can only grow as fast as its leaders. And to grow through each stage, you have to reinvent yourself. What worked at this stage doesn't work at the next stage, and you have to continuously reinvent yourself. And I was blessed to have a very solid founding team of superstars at One Coin English, the 3 of us, and also the new members. And it's just world-class people. So I was forced to reinvent myself to keep up with the pack. But most of you are not that lucky to have that environment. So with that in mind, I'll give you some tips on how to make the next stage. So for stage 1, it's get students, uh, feed yourself. And that's pretty much the focus, really. It's going from 0 to 100, 0 to the 800,000 yen, excluding tax, no sales tax included. It's 8,000 yen average per student. You can teach at the community center, your home, or a cafe. And I think this is really perfect for someone who has a full-time job and wants some side income. Also, for someone before diving in and opening your school, seeing if teaching is really right for you and something you want to do as a career or for the next 5 to 10 years. Um, for stage two, so the big question is you grow in your school to 100 students to manage or to not manage others. That is the question. And your monthly revenue is about 800,000 to 1.6 million, could be more or less based on the number of students. You could be teaching at your home or you could be teaching at a separate location, ideally at your home. Probably you don't have that luxury if you're in downtown or a big city, but having it at your home is a good uh, way to save a lot of money. And stage two is really perfect for someone who wants nice work-life balance. So you have about 120 students, you're teaching them yourself, or maybe 150 to 180, 200 with yourself and your wife and your husband, a wife and husband team. And so you could both do your hours. You could have your free time. You don't manage any staff. You're open 5 days a week. You have a nice 2 days off, no emergency calls. And you could set school holidays so you can get some really nice work-life balance here. Also, you don't need to do any management. It's you just got to manage yourself, and hopefully your partner doesn't drive you nuts. And that's about it. And I think this is perfect for someone who really loves teaching and connecting with students. So what I really see is sometimes like a really good business is you have a husband and wife team. They're amazing, amazing at teaching. And they could charge, like 8,000 yen for a month for kids, maybe even 9,000. And yeah, tax because they're so good. But if you have a chain or like you have multiple schools, you cannot maintain the quality like a single owner or dual school. That is really, you can say, the pinnacle of lesson quality and community. So I think this is perfect if you really love teaching and you really want to give like the highest quality lessons. It might actually be good to stay in stage two. And also, you don't need to be in loans or debt because if you want to build a second school, third school, you want to grow faster, you want to keep people employed, you sometimes have to take a loan or debt in a downturn or to grow the school faster. However, for those who really want to grow, and these are some common issues I see. The owner tries to do too many things in the school that could be done by other staff. What this means is the owner has a part-time Japanese staff, but they're doing the trials. Other cases, they're doing emails that the part-time staff could do. And so they're just trying to do too many things on the management and teaching side that they don't have any time for actually the growth of the school. And the staff, they're not able to work independently. Whatever they're doing, they really need your help to do it, and they struggle with that. And for the third one, it's the owner is not spending enough time on marketing. So this doesn't purely mean like digital marketing or making flyers. This could be things like putting yourself out there in the community, doing community lessons, and just making yourself known in the community. But one caveat is I do think every owner has to become a master of curriculum and teaching before they grow fast. You need to have your curriculum set and you need to have your teaching style set before you start adding more people and creating more complex or having more complexity and having to do things. So get that done first, then work on the marketing and also the customer satisfaction. So some tips at growing is get good at offline marketing, kindergarten contracts, get really good at the trial lessons, getting students to sign up and referrals, and a nice website. I think if you just have these things, you can have a pretty solid and stable business. If you do want to grow to a second location, you could take a loan once the first school is really solid, or you could spend several years saving money and then invest in the second school. But I would recommend choosing a growth area. So don't choose an area where you could only get 100 students. Go for a place that has the capacity for, or so the area has the capacity for 200 students. At this stage, yeah, I guess to get to 200, you really need one good staff member and you need one really good teacher. So this could be your spouse, But you really need one good person to really really be good, so you don't need to worry about them, so you can focus on other things. And yep, you probably do need to reduce your teaching hours to do marketing or say generating new potential customers through PR, marketing, right? Just getting yourself out there. And one thing, it's at least in my case, we had a team of three professionals committed to growing the school. So that's why we outgrew our competitors. But in your case, if you could find a second person who's just really committed to growing themselves, and they want to hit 400, they want to hit 1 million in revenue, and that's the type of person you partner with. Someone who wants to go into the millions. Not Don't choose the most convenient person. I would say choose the person with the most potential in the long term. And I've seen this too many times where it's usually not really husband and wife because they usually want to grow, but two friends. They created a school together, and one of them is, I wouldn't say they're a bum, but they're comfortable where they're at. Or I wouldn't say they're comfortable. They're probably they might be afraid to take the next stage, or uh, they want to be what's they praised a lot, and they want to be seen as like what's a an awesome person, and so they don't really take the risk to invent themselves or explore to make it to the next stage. So that's why you really need a second person committed to growing themselves and the business. And I rarely ever see this. Like this, oh my god, I rarely ever see this. I more often see one person kind of wants to grow the business, but the other person doesn't. And the person who wants to grow the business lacks the communication skills to either kind of force that other member out, or not force, but let's say gradually get them to move on, or let's say kind of motivating them, getting them to change their mindset to take it to the next stage. But rather than trying to change someone, find the right person from the start. Because changing people, personalities, it's a lot of work, and that takes away time from growing the business. But how can you grow? So I really recommend you should be spending 5 to 10 hours a week on learning how to grow, optimize your business, operations, management, or investing in your team to grow them. Join the Eikaiwa owners group. So there's a lot of members. There's a couple quality members, and they can answer a lot of your questions regarding offline marketing, opening new schools, management. But yeah, it's you're really say you're really lucky to have access to some of these people, and a lot of them are very kind and generous people. Also, I recommend watching my seminars. I have a ton of seminars on taxes, labor law, scaling your company, marketing for schools, and definitely recommend checking that out. This will probably be one of my last ones here, but hope they help. Okay, next, stage three. So, do you pursue your passion, or do you focus on growing your school and expanding the school? So, I think, yeah, these are schools around 2 to 400, 1.6 million to 3.2 million yen a month, or annual, maybe about 40 million yen, maybe at the higher stage. But this is perfect for someone who wants to make a side business. You can keep your school at this size, just find one person who can run things, and you can focus on a side business or side hustle. This stage is also perfect for people who like to focus on your own needs. So what I mean by this is it's, let's say you're comfortable where you're at. You don't want to improve, let's say improving your management skills or developing some of your team members into leaders, or upgrading your systems. Like you don't, if that doesn't sound like appeasing to you, this is a good stage to stay in, because you don't need to have the high tech operations. You don't need to have the super. You don't need to raise a super solid team that can take you to 1,000 students, 2,000 students. So you can just focus on your own needs and what makes you feel comfortable. And stage three is probably the limit of where you can enjoy having that luxury, where you don't have to ask staff for feedback. You're not accountable to your team. It's like you're accountable to your own needs. So if you want to work 4 days a week, this is a perfect stage to have that balance. I also think it's a really great stage for great educators. So like you have a solid curriculum, or you really want to make the curriculum for a certain target audience. I think there's a good state where the school can make enough money where you can hire people to do things, and you have enough time to focus on your needs and kind of pursue your hobby. But yeah, so it's better for great educators. If you want to be a great manager, a great leader, uh, you got to go bigger than this. It's the main reason being it's there's probably only like a teacher manager yourself, so you're only 3 stages up. So you're probably you can become a good manager, but a great one might be a bit tough to achieve at this level of complexity and number of people. And yeah, you can have a really nice work-life balance. So I often see people go make Airbnbs, make cafes, work on curriculum. I think the danger point is though is what I often see is I think not I think a good chunk of people maybe they don't have what it takes to make it to the next stage, or they're afraid to make it to the next stage, or they haven't really worked on themselves enough to really think like actually 400 600 is a possibility. So they like to stay where they're comfortable, and opening a cafe, that's after you open a school to 200 400, which is pretty good. That's actually a pretty good achievement, and I think you should be proud of yourself. Kind of like making a cafe is an easy thing to do because you're starting from scratch, and you don't have to deal with the complexity of having 800 people, 600 people, 4 layers or 3 to 4 layers of staff. So I think this is a pretty good place if you want to feel comfortable and not really force yourself and have to revolutionize yourself to the next stage. So yep, common ones is owner does not have a reliable number two working full time. So you might have a business partner, but they might be comfortable in this stage and it kind of holds the company back. Two, the owners don't have clear alignment on vision. So what I mean by that is with One Coin English, all three of us wanted to go national. We wanted to go big. We are clear from that from day one. So we have very clear alignment. We agreed on the timeline. We need to grow this much by this stage. We're going to double in size this year, and we're very committed. And that was our key priority. Less than our egos. It was the growth was the biggest priority. And also not communicating regularly. Like I've done some cold calling to people, and like it seems like they don't like owners. They don't. It's a lot of pairs, especially. They don't really talk on a weekly basis. Like in One Coin English, we talk to each other for like 90 minutes every week. What are you doing? What are you doing? This is what I hold me accountable to this. This is my goal. And like I've noticed that the pairs where they have issues, they don't really communicate regularly, and they don't have clear alignment in vision. So I think that's why they get stuck in the 2 to 400 phase, and maybe they tend to focus on other things like a side business. I've seen it like in like 5 groups of people already, like out of 6 or 7. So it's not definitive, but seems pretty common. Okay, and the third one is they might be outsourcing marketing to another company, but the people who they're outsourcing the marketing to, like, they're good at maintaining, or they can probably do the bare minimum, but they're not really the marketing group that can take you to 600, 1,000, 2,000. You're really getting people at the 2 to 400 stage. So if you're paying like $500 a month for marketing, you're probably getting a bare minimal level. So it's better to learn it yourself, because I don't think you at this point, this stage, it's unless you have like 300 400 students, you might not have the budget to really hire someone good, and that's going to really push you in the company. Yeah, I don't think the owners is spending enough time learning to become a better manager. Definitely in this one. It's when I was at Interact, like I spent 10 hours a week reading books on HR because my employees didn't want to be there. So I had to really learn how to become a better manager. But I think for a lot of owners, I think you guys have a good enough situation where things are just fine. So you're not forced like how I was, where uh, you've heard things about Interact and it was hard managing. So I had to become a really good manager. And also, yeah, I think because the situation's like good enough, I think a lot of owners inflate their management skills and kind of their growth rate as a manager slows down. Like you've never seen an amazing manager, so because you don't know what the ideal is, you get kind of comfortable at this state. Uh, this one is I always see this one. It's no clear promotional system and career advancement, and so it's like the complaint is my staff don't stay, or people, foreigners, they kind of change too often. And probably the number one reason is you don't have a promotional system and career advancement. For One Coin English, we're going national, or we want to open more schools, so the teachers know that more managerial positions are going to open up. So that's how we've been able to retain and keep people motivated, because there's always something to aim for because we're growing. So if your school's not growing, there's not really much for the staff to aim for, and therefore you either have to offer more money, or I would say offer more vacation. You have to offer something because you can't offer the motivation for personal growth. The other one is, yeah, the managers aren't receiving development training, mentoring, and you're pretty much doing on the job training. And the common issue is like the owner has not learned to become a manager, so they don't know how to properly develop, mentor their staff. And because there's only like two or three layers, it's enough you can just kind of be good enough at it, and things just work. But when you have 5 layers, 6 layers, it's yeah, you gotta really, you gotta be very thoughtful on how to. So that the third layer at this stage, you have enough contact with the people where you can just get by it being good enough, but not good enough to be like 1,000 or 2,000 level in a quick pace. Key other ones I've seen through my cold calling experiences is they've brought in a veteran, probably a Japanese veteran. The person knows business and they're good, they're okay, but they're not great. So they're just a six-figure person. Not being that's not a bad thing. It's but if you want to go become a six-figure, seven-figure company in U.S. dollars, you don't bring in a six-figure person. You got to bring in like a eight-figure person, like person who can take you to eight figures, like myself, who can kind of push you through those stages, or even someone who just has experience at 7 figures. But if you bring in a number two who's a six-figure person and they don't have a crazy growth mindset, like they want to go 7 figures, you're going to get stuck. So I've seen that happen. Seeing it a couple schools in Kyoto. I've kind of noticed that. And not just Kyoto, I think a couple prefectures. Based on my code calls, I got that strong sense. Okay, and yep. So I guess going from 2 to 400, you got to get really good at managing training teachers, because once you don't get student claims. Students refer their friends based on your teachers instead of yourself. That's really what, if you get that system, that can take you to the next stage. You got to get really good at developing a head teacher or receptionist. And no, I haven't met any school owner who I'd say is really exceptional at this yet. To be honest, it's even in Interact. To be honest, like Interact doesn't have this Aeon ECC, so I think very few places have like a really solid system for developing. But don't feel bad about it, because the big players, they don't have it as well, or at least based on 8 years ago on my experience. Getting really good at offline. Yeah, I think if you can get good at either, like really good. The problem with online though is you need to be in a city of like, let's say 200,000 people to really make online marketing effective. If not, I would really just go offline hardcore. So I hope that helps for the marketing end based on my experience. Yeah, I think probably around 400, you gotta start thinking. After you get the curriculum set, the teachers are good, you can start really optimizing the operations, the booking, the building. But until then, really just get the service quality up. And yeah, you got to really minimize your teaching at 300 students, 400 students. I mean, you should. I think teaching 5 hours a week is good just to keep yourself, let's say, not you'll be rusty, but you'll be rusty at 5 hours. But at least it's fresh enough where, let's say, the staff will. Let's say if you give feedback to the staff, they'll they'll be more likely. But if you don't teach at all, it's harder to give feedback based on my experience at Interact and seeing helping some school owners as well. So 5 hours is a nice amount at this stage. Okay, and yet you probably at 400, you probably need just one person to really focus on being like the team, like managing the team and building the systems to make it to the next stage. So yeah, I think at 400, I think you need to start. Just skip to number two. It's you need to develop or find core members who can run a function. So you need a person who can run marketing, one person who can run team management or operations, or you can hire a veteran from the outside, not an advisor by I mean. You hire someone from the outside to run one of these functions. I think for a language school, unless you're like one coin English where like you're trying to grow really quickly, like double in size, even at the million stage, like you want to double, double, double. You have to hire externally, but I would say because your growth rates aren't as aggressive, like 1.2 x a year or maybe 1.1x, I think you can hire someone internally and just get them to take courses or get someone like me to train them how to do marketing or run or manage teachers or run whole operations for a company. Okay. And yeah, I think number three, like definitely, at the, if you have 300, 400 students, you definitely need a consultant. It's if you're doing it by yourself. In my case, one of my partners was a marketing expert. My other partner was a chain specialist. And in my case, I had the Interac experience managing 150 full time teachers in Yokohama, doing training sessions for like 100 teachers simultaneously, and having the probably the most important Interac client was under my command. So, that's why we had an invincible team. Like you had three experts who each were good at one function, but so we're kind of a basketball super team, the big three. But in your case, you might not be as lucky. And if you have a partner, it's you're both kind of build each other up. So I think if you have 300, 400 students, 200 is a bit tough, but 300, 400, you definitely need a consultant. And if you don't, I think it's really going to slow your growth. It's and for me, I think it's a no brainer. It's just it'll completely change everything just because you don't know what the ideal state is. So you need someone who's experienced it. And in my case too, like I was really lucky. I had a mentor who I had two mentors. So at Interact, my mentor was a fellow coworker, but we talked every day or several times a week, minimal, for like hours and hours. And he ran a company with 7,000 students before Interact, and he was a grandmaster. And yeah, his school, I won't say which, but he runs a school chain that Eikaiwa that has I think like 400 or 500 locations now. And I had another mentor who he's kind of semi-retired at the time, so he spent a lot of time with me. But he was an executive at Microsoft, so he taught me about like the 5 layers of management. Let's say just at this level of organization, like how to deal with politics, how to do presentations, to get let's say my initiatives carried through. So I was very lucky to have people to mentor me. And so if you don't have a mentor who can consistently help you, I recommend myself. So I can let me help you 2x, 5x your company. So I can help you by marketing optimization. So I've gotten a lot of my clients, probably 80 to 90% in the top three for Google Maps. For SEO, I think probably 50% are in the top three, but for SEO, it's a bit tough because I really need control of your website and it takes a lot of work. to get SEO done, especially if you're in a competitive city. But I've ranked number one in Tokyo for SEO for language education. So yep, I definitely know what I'm talking about. For sales, if you're doing some B2B contracts, I can definitely help. How do you find the right target? How to create the right sales pamphlet, the right pitch, uh, how to increase your rate of signups. Also, at your school too. If I think your student sign up rate is less than 90%, you probably need help there. And service and price optimization. So some of my clients, I help them increase their prices, and how do you roll that out? Also, what services should you focus on? And I'll definitely challenge you on it. It's So if I was the CEO and you pitch to me, like, I want to do this service, I'd really challenge you, like, how much revenue does it bring? Like, how good will the service be? Do people actually want it? Just to make sure you don't waste time building something people don't want, even though it might be good. I also increase efficiency. So with leaders, like listening, so the fact that you're listening to this is a good sign. And yep, every organization, for the organization to grow faster, the leader has to grow faster. And I can definitely help you grow there. With the organization, you could let me manage your partner. I could coach both partners. I can coach your manager, your school manager, um, your recruiter, your marketer. I can bring all of them up to real managerial level. So I think the reason a lot of schools get stuck is you have like maybe head teacher level, head receptionist level, but you don't really have managers who know how to manage and get results and can manage a team and build people up, as opposed to just maintain the status quo, which is like a head teacher is more of maintain the status quo. Recruitment, yep, I would say I was able to hire, I think, 400 or 500 teachers for almost no cost at One Coin English due to recruitment branding. So it's recruitment. I would say I'm probably one of the best in Japan for recruitment. Okay, so how I can help some speed through this, but I can usually coach you in one focus area, like either recruitment, marketing, or yourself, and that's twice a month. If you want to do 2 focus areas, 4 sessions a month. If you want more, if you want me to coach for 2 focus areas, I could coach you and the staff in one area each. And if you want to focus on more areas, I can coach. But yeah, to really get good, like we really dive deep, and I'll pretty much revolutionize how you think about things. And you're welcome to check my site link later for testimonials. Got quite a few video testimonials. Okay, this is my pricing, which you can check out later. I've been going on quite long. Also for language school owners, I also have a monthly discussion group. So I have about 13 language schools at the moment. I think around 13. And every month we choose one topic and we have a discussion. We've talked about pricing, how to increase prices, kindergarten contracts, how to get them, reduce junior high school quitters, how to get more junior high school students, how to do offline marketing. And I think we'll do hybrid lessons. We're going to talk about how owners can collaborate, a lot of more potential projects. So we've done about quite 6 or 7 of these already, and have quite a few so I guess I have 14 schools and 13 prefectures. I usually take 1 client per prefecture, or 2 if it's a bigger one, like Kanagawa, Osaka, or Aichi. And here are a few of my clients. And I also help non-language schools as well, and that's the URL at the bottom. So sorry for going long there, but stage 4. So how to enjoy the rewards or go for more growth. So you have about 500 to 1,000 students, 4 million yen to 8 million yen a month. Yeah. So yeah, 8. So yeah, you could break the $1 million mark around this end at the later end. But I think this is great for someone who wants passive income and just create a business you can set and forget. And what I mean by that is, with this amount of revenue, you can hire someone who's senior level. So you have junior, kind of like junior, like entry, someone who can maintain, someone who can manage, someone who can grow a bit. But senior level, it's I want to dominate Kanagawa Prefecture, or I want to I want to go international, or that's senior level. So you have enough money to hire someone senior level to kind of build up your company, like myself. Although I'm not an employee anymore, but that's an example. And also, if, I think you hit this stage, you kind of hit like the golden spot where you'll kind of be recognized as a leader in the language school community. So I think I can think of 5 or 6 business owners who are in this range, and a lot of people look up to them and respect them, and quite well because they've quite accomplished a lot and have also done a lot for the community. And could be about 3 to 7 locations. Hopefully not 10. I'd say 3 to 7 is yeah, I'd say 5 would be a solid number to be at 1,000 students. But if not possible, probably 7. Case common issues. You don't have enough capital, so typically Japanese accountants they tell you to increase your expenditures so you can reduce your tax burden, and so you haven't saved enough, and so you could build one school a year, uh, but you haven't saved enough, or you haven't built the structure where you can really build a couple like 2 schools a year. And so because you don't have enough saved, you have to take a loan. Also, I think it's the business is too focused around the owner, so it's at around 500 stage, your manager are too dependent, and like the owner sometimes they'll just say like, okay, that kind of sucks how you did it, I have to do it for you, and they kind of just take over. Or you have people who are really good maintainers, but they really don't push the needle. The third one is yeah, the owner's not getting mentored or coached to like someone to really push them, or they don't have a mentor, someone who's been to a higher stage that can guide them along the way. Also, it's kind of hard to hire senior level talent, and so a lot of schools they're kind of stuck with entry level talent who they have to who they show some promising signs, they promote them to manager and hope they become an actual like manager level. But sometimes you don't have the revenue, or sometimes the leader your company isn't growing fast enough for you to attract someone senior level. Is the common case. But I do think the strength of language school owners is I do think they're visionary, but the operational side is often too weak. So that's why it's hard to attract senior level people. Key. Oh, and the other one is yeah, senior level people. Like we make decisions very quickly, like bam, 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 bam. So if let's say you're meeting with a senior level person, you make decisions slowly. It's a very bad sign. It shows that there's organizational dysfunction in the leadership and like decision making flow. But if you actually have good decision making, like how I would communicate, because with my new coaching, it's my focus for this month is this. This top, I would like to talk to you about something, but that's not. I want to grow my company by 1.5x, and we really need to do this event this month, so I don't have time to talk. Or we really need to get this marketing campaign done. So sorry, I can't. I'd like to discuss with the investor or someone next month. So unless you're really, really focused and it's focused on things that generate high revenue, I think senior level talent would get put off by slow decision making. Okay, yeah, going from 500 to 100, either the CEO, but you need one person who is senior level. If you have two, you'll grow way, way faster. I would say you have to be good at both types of marketing, and you kind of have to have good customer data. So, like, who's your customer types? What do they want? Which leads to high sign up rates and long continuation rates, and solid data about what they want from the lessons. I'd also say, like, financial modeling, you need to be pretty decent at it to get to 1,000, or you need to have at least something working to forecast. So accountants are historical. You need forecasting skills to go to 1,000. You may need someone who can do negotiations. You do need some simple automation or at least a school management system. And yeah, you need to know how to manage, I think, 4 layers. So, how do you manage a teacher manager? Or, sorry, how do you manage an area manager? How do you make the area manager actually manage the manager who to manage the teacher? Ooh, so yep, some tips to grow to the next stage. You want to go past 1,000. Join things like American Chamber of Commerce, Lions Club. So I think Lions Club is usually a higher level, or entrepreneur EO. I don't know what it stands for, but EO is a good entrepreneur or something. Definitely, you need probably multiple business consultants. You probably need one for labor law. You probably need one for legal. You probably need one for marketing. You need one for management. And yeah, if you want to break 1,000, definitely start looking for outside help if you're lacking it internally. So bring in people who can go 1,000. But I think it's risky because they don't know your culture. So it's always good to have someone internally, and that's why I like to coach people internally, so you don't have to hire externally and take that huge risk. And yeah, always be on the lookout for talented people. And even Steve Jobs said, like, I think he spent 2 to 3 years or sometimes 5 years convincing people to join Apple. So if you find someone really good, keep them on your radar and just keep pecking at them until they join. Okay, stage five. That's something we could talk about. That's more for clients if you reach that stage. But I hope this presentation has helped, and I hope you kind of know what stage you're in, what your ideal stage in, why you're stuck, and how to get out of it. So good luck. I've had a great experience meeting a lot of language school owners. Most of you are really awesome, good people with great hearts, and I hope this can help you achieve your goals. Take care.